The first thing I noticed about Hollows End was how normal it looked. Quaint even, nestled between two looming stretches of forest. It was the kind of town where the roads were cracked but clean. The air smelled faintly of pine, and the houses set like relics from another time. Modest, sun-faded things with peeling paint and yards full of forgotten toys and rusted-out lawnmowers. I was desperate when I found the listing online. Cheap rent, move-in ready, no credit check. After the city had chewed me up and spit me out, jobless, drowning in debt, I needed something like this. A place to start over. A place that didn't ask questions. The landlord was an old man named Grayson. He had wrinkled skin like parchment paper. A cigarette was wedged between his fingers. The stink of nicotine clinged to his clothes. He barely spoke when he handed me the keys, with just one warning. Be inside before dark. And for God's sakes, don't open the door. I laughed. I thought it was a joke, thought maybe it was just some old town superstition, the kind of small town nonsense that didn't really mean anything. I didn't laugh for long. The first night, dusk came fast. One minute, the sky was blushing pink and gold. The next, the sun was swallowed by the horizon and the streets were empty. Not the normal kind of empty. The kind of empty that felt unnatural and forced. No cars, no voices, no music drifting from windows. I stood on my porch, frowning. The air felt thick, too still, like the town was holding its breath. Then I heard it. Click, click, click. Locks being turned, deadbolts sliding into place, chains pulled taut. House after house sealed itself shut. My skin prickled. I told myself it was just paranoia, just my city instincts getting the best of me. But then I noticed something else. Something that sent a cold weight sinking into my stomach. The streetlights never turned on. The town was drowning in blackness. I stepped back inside and locked the door. I barely made it to the couch before it started. The voices. Not talking and not whispering. It was almost like a hum, low and droning, like a dirge sung through gritted teeth. The sound seeped through the walls, vibrating into my bones, in my teeth, and to the root of my skull. I pressed my hands against my ears. It didn't help. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It was in the house. The air turned wet and heavy, thick with something sour and rotten, and my vision swam, my throat burned. A footstep creaked behind me. I turned too fast with my stomach lurching. Nothing was there, but the door to the hallway was open. I was sure I had closed it. Something shifted in the darkness just beyond it. A shape. Watching. My lungs locked. I couldn't move. I couldn't blink. The shape twitched, its outline warping as if its bones didn't fit right under its skin. And then, just as suddenly as it had come, it was gone. The humming stopped. The air cleared. The weight lifted. I didn't sleep. The next morning, the town looked the same, normal and cheerful even. People waved as I passed them, smiling like everything was fine. But I saw the exhaustion in their eyes. I went to the diner, the only one in town. A bell chimed as I stepped inside. The smell of burnt coffee and fried eggs filled my nose. The waitress behind the counter, a woman in her late 40s with deep-set wrinkles and tired hands, barely looked up as I slid onto a stool. "What can I get you, hon?" she said. I hesitated. Answers. She stiffened. I leaned in, lowering my voice. "What happens at night?" She kept wiping the same spot on the counter, staring down. "You don't want to know." I replied, "Something was in my house." Now she really looked at me. Her eyes eyes were dark and heavy. You locked your doors? I nodded. You didn't open them? No. Her shoulders relaxed, a fraction. She said, Then you're lucky. I swallowed hard. What happens if I open the door? She didn't answer, just grabbed a coffee pot and walked away. The second night, I nailed the window shut, jammed a chair into the doorknob. I wasn't taking any chances. Night came like a guillotine, sharp and sudden, and then the humming. I pressed myself against the wall, heart rattling in my chest. This time it was closer. The air throbbed with it, every note a needle under my skin. A shadow passed outside my window, long and twisted. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to stay still. Don't move, don't breathe, don't let them know you're awake. Something scratched against the door, slow and deliberate. My nails dug into my palms. A whisper slithered through the keyhole. Let us in. My stomach turned. The voice wasn't human. It was too many voices at once, laid on top of each other, spilling into my ears like oil. They knocked, gentle at first, then harder, then pounding. The walls trembled and the windows rattled in their frames. And then silence. A pause, and the doorknob twisted. I clamped my hand over my mouth, biting down on my own knuckles. The locks held. The chair stayed in place. The sound bubbled up from the other side of the door. A laugh. Not one voice, not two. Dozens, laughing. I squeezed my eyes shut, shaking. Then all at once, silence. I stayed there until dawn. First thing in the morning, I packed my things the moment the sun came up. Screw the lease, screw everything. I was getting out. I sped down the road, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles ached. The town blurred past me, the trees thinning and the highway stretching ahead. And then my car stalled. I cursed, slamming my fist against the wheel. I tried the ignition. Nothing. The air turned thick. I looked back and the road was gone. Not blocked, not fogged. Gone. The trees stretched endlessly in every direction. I turned around. The town was behind me. The highway was gone. The houses stood in eerie silence, windows dark, doors locked tight. And then from the woods, the humming started. I ran. I don't even know how far, I don't know how long, but eventually I stopped. Because they were waiting, lining the street. Too tall, too thin, bones shifting under too loose skin. Their faces were wrong, stretched too long, their eyes too wide, their mouths splitting into gaping grins that never moved. They didn't speak. They just watched. And then, in unison, they lifted their hands and pointed at me. The humming swelled. I turned and ran back inside. I locked the door. I'm still here. I don't think I'll ever leave. Because I don't think anyone ever does. Before you go, I need your input. What's working? What's missing? What stories haven't you seen but want uncovered? This channel is about more than just telling unsettling stories. It's about creating something that lingers, stories that sit with you long after you hit pause. But it only works if it connects with you. So tell me, do you want me to go deeper into obscure legends, modern folklore, or real-life accounts that blur the line between fact and fiction? Do you want slow-burning narratives or sharp, fast hits? Long-form investigations or tight, focused storytelling? I want to know what draws you in, what gets under your skin, what you want more of, and I guess what could be pushed further? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Be honest. Be specific. I read everything and I take it seriously. I'll see you in the dark.